Graphic design, we make stuff and solve problems in communication, visual communication. We use words, pictures, color, shape, all sorts of. I don't know how. Don't break stuff. I'll send that bill home. We use all sorts of visual tools to get messages across to people. And what we do is we start off with having you learn about stuff like type and color and things like that. You start learning about some of the same kinds of elements and principles that you might see in fine art, like drawing or painting or things like that. And then what you do is we take that and we put that into a computer context. So these computers, these Apple computers, and the software that's on them, anybody here ever heard of Adobe Photoshop?
Yeah.
A couple people have heard of Adobe Photoshop. Well, we use Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign, all Adobe software. These are all industry standard technologies that we use to help people get messages across to target audiences. And that can take many different forms. That can take the form of a poster, business card, letterhead, advertisements, books, packaging, things that you can normally put ink or pigment onto paper or some other flat substrate. And that's what we do. We learn about different design and art styles, like pop art, like Swiss style, street art. If anybody here has ever shopped and gotten t-shirts with artists like Basquiat or Keith Haring, like you go to like Uniqlo or someplace like that.
Graphic tees?
What's that?
Like graphic tees?
Yeah, like graphic tees. Yeah, we have a couple of students who have come to us and said, "Hey, I want to make a t-shirt company. How do I get the art on the t-shirt? Or what kind of logo am I going to make for the t-shirt?" In fact, I'll show these to you. These are some solutions we're actually coming up with. Our students are trying to come up with an answer for another student. They want this student wants a clothing company called Devil Time. So what we need to do is we need to come up with the logo. We need to come up with how it's going to look on letterhead, business cards, the little hang tags that you go to the clothing store and it's got the little tag on it. Packaging, whether it's packaging to hold stuff or carry stuff out of a store. So these are the kinds of solutions that we have our students come up with. We've also done some commercial projects. So some commercial projects and things for the community. We've done flyers for the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. We have our culinary program making hot sauces and barbecue sauce, and we worked on the labeling for those. I'm trying to think. We actually had our students a little bit earlier, like during the pandemic. We actually were approached by a mask company, and we were asked to make designs for one of their masks. So we actually had a student work on mask design for that. So we get to play with some cool toys, and we get to come up with a whole bunch of different really cool solutions for different problems that people have in terms of getting messages out. Do the four of you have any questions about any of this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, when they first started, did they think it was difficult? Like, did they find anything difficult, or is it just hard in general?
A lot of students come in here not knowing that. I mean, they know technology, but they haven't used these particular tools, and they may not have like seen these kinds of concepts from art. One of the big things I tell students about this program is it helps them understand how the world communicates with them, and then how they can go back and communicate better within the world. I mean, little things like the unspoken messages of what color means or what a particular typeface means, and then the meaning or the feeling that you get when you combine those things. Like red might mean, just putting the color red on something might generate a psychological response or emotion based on that, and that's some of the kinds of stuff that these students learn. You had a question.
Yeah, were you ever want to teach middle school?
Would I ever want to teach middle school? Actually, I just finished up certification to teach what's known as BCIT, which is basically a whole other kind of computer technology, and that would actually allow me to teach in middle school and elementary school.
Similar to this?
Some of it, yeah. Not. I could specifically go. I could focus on this stuff, but BCIT is a little bit broader, so I'd need to know about like business and accounting and word processing and marketing and things like that. And I know some of that stuff, but this is my bread and butter. I did this professionally for years before I came to teach. Mm-hmm. So I like the idea of passing it on to younger people who hopefully be able to get a good living out of it, or at least be able to understand concepts, understand and identify concepts when they see them out in the world.
Like passing down a legacy?
I like to think so. I hope every teacher feels like that. Any other questions?
No.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're good. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.